Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to SILA's special interviews for this year. Today, I'm very happy to have here with me and to host Yasmine Tifour. She's an Algerian author, and she's also an English freelance tutor. Thank you for coming, Yasmine.
Thank you so much for having me today.
It's a pleasure. To start with, Yasmine, can you tell us a little bit about your journey into the world of poetry, since you write poetry, and what inspired you to write Ignite and Four Seasons? These are very interesting titles, so what inspired them?
All right, so regarding my journey with writing, it actually started a long time ago when I was a kid. And it started off by writing in Arabic, and then I was writing songs, lyrics in French, and I was exploring the world of writing until one dot connected the other to reach poetry, and specifically poetry in English. So that's like the summary of my journey. Regarding the inspiration to write Ignite and Four Seasons to Breathe, is mainly related to nature, because I write a specific type of poetry, which is pastoral poetry. It's related to the countryside and nature in general.
So you're a nature lover. That's what
Yeah.
inspired your poetry and your writings, right?
Indeed, yeah.
So poetry is very well known for its ability to, for its unique ability to convey complex emotions and ideas in a very condensed form. So what do you find most rewarding and challenging in order to write such pieces of writing and such poetry?
All right. So I'd start off by the challenging part, which I can say when writing poetry, you can get lost in, for example, following a specific pattern of poetry. There are a lot of them out there. So, for example, for my case, I went with modern poetry. And I could easily go and choose, a follow pattern, specific classic one, but I do encourage modern and spontaneous writing. So that's the challenging part, is when you go like, okay, I'm gonna make it authentic. And regarding the rewarding part, it's when I write and then there is a final poem in front of me, and I read it again, and then I have like two versions of the writing that the reader can get, but I still connect that thin thread that made me start writing the poem. So when I do perceive that one, and I'm like, okay, I got why I was writing this one, that's the most rewarding part.
That's the reward. The final product is the most rewarding step, or the most rewarding thing in the writing process. Are there any specific themes or motifs that run through your collections? And if so, what are they?
All right. So I wouldn't want to categorize them under like specific titles.
Okay.
Because I would like the readers to lose common sense in my writing.
Oh.
Yeah. And to decipher it however they connect with the writing or relate with it. But in general, I'd say relationships, love, friendship, family, life in general, and curiosity especially.
Very various and diverse themes are in your pieces of writing. Beautiful,
Exactly.
very inspiring. The beauty of poetry is its capacity to evoke vivid imagery and sensations, right? So how do you use descriptive language and metaphors for your readers and to engage the readers?
Right. So I'd say poetry is based on that. And that makes a difference between prose and poetry. Because when writing prose, you can use them here and there, but in poetry, it sometimes starts with it. So I often use them since I said it's based on that. And I can actually show you an example from one of the poems.
Yeah, why not?
And it's from Ignite. And the poem is a planet talking about its path. Let's imagine it as a planet who took the road less traveled by, and it's Uranus. So that's the seventh planet, and it's actually it has a tilted axis. So here I could, like, when I saw that and when I discovered this fact, I directly compared it to people who take the special path, who go and do something that nobody else did, and they still like fear to be judged and so on. So Uranus here is showing us the bravery of doing that, and it is saying
The courage
yeah.
to follow a different path.
Exactly. So at first it says, they told me I was deviating, assuming I was taking illicit tradition. saying I should have made my atonement by quitting. They wanted my spot vacant, dreamt about me getting expunged. And then at the end, so there is a whole one, I would actually offer like a small piece.
Okay.
It says, I am Uranus, and they are the rest of the universe. I have got no desire to look like them. We will never be the same.
We will never be the same. Very inspiring lines.
Yeah.
Very inspiring. To the next question, what is your creative process like when you sit down to write a poem? Do you have a specific ritual? Do you have specific sources of inspiration that make you start actually writing?
All right. So I'd say it can be specified under two ones. And the first one is when I get an epiphany, a deep understanding of something. And the road is clear, what I want to write about is there. So I just sit down and write it. The other one is when I observe something that's complex, a bit vague, and I sit down to discover the epiphany.
Right, so you have two rituals that say that actually inspire you to start the writing process of your works.
Exactly.
So many aspiring poets look up to established authors for guidance, and I'm sure you do that too. But as a young poet, do you have any advice for young poets or young authors like you to actually get started in writing?
All right, so as a start, I'd say if you feel like you have something to be said, just go with it, write it down, discover your style, and it's okay if it's messy, it's okay if it's not perfect. That's the main goal, is when you start off by like amateur writing, and then bit by bit you make it more perfect, you tailor it into what you really want. And I would actually say as well, only write it if you cannot live with it unwritten. So make sure that if you're saying something out loud, it's only said because it cannot stay here.
So you have to let it out.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you for the advice you're giving for the young generation. Can you share any upcoming projects or themes you're exploring in your poetry, and what can readers expect from your future work?
All right.
Give us some exclusive content that's upcoming.
Yeah. So actually, that can be like a secret, but I would share it. I'm actually writing prose. And that's like, it's gonna show the difference of when I write poetry and when I write prose. But regarding poetry, I'm actually also excited to discover what I want to write about, and it's not really clear because each time you get something new that you never thought about.
It's a spontaneous process.
Yeah,
right?
that's really exciting. I don't have a specific plan regarding what I want to write in poetry, because in prose, like, you have a story, you have characters, and all of that. And actually, prose takes more time, patience, and all. But poetry can be like that splash, like you get a blast of ideas, and it just turns out to be, I started writing it as an inspiration, and then it turned out to be a book. So,
okay. Well, looking forward to seeing future works. And how do you see your poetry contributing to the International Book Fair this year? And how does it fit into the broader landscape of literature? And this year's theme is actually Africa Writes Its Future. So how do you see your work fitting into this edition?
all right. So I want to say that I'm so proud. There are Algerian writers writing in English, and there are a lot of them out there, and it contributes to the book fair or the African writing spectrum as a reviving English writing, because we can actually send a specific image of our journey as Africans or as Arabs into the world using English as a tool. And regarding poetry, the main goal is to revive it. So I see it as a birth for poetry, a contribution of birth.
Nice. So lastly, as the last question, what messages or emotions do you hope your readers take away from your collections and your work?
All right. So as I said, the whole poetic aspect for me is based on epiphanies and understandings, no matter how small or trivial they may seem. And so I want readers to take time, to be patient with poems or whatever they are reading, because nowadays in the contemporary world we have easy absorbed or fast absorbed art like music. So I would want readers to be patient, to be curious especially, and if they cannot get from it an understanding, a revelation, at least they get questions.
So you encourage them to read more, to explore what's out there, read more especially, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a wrap for today, Yasmine Tifour. It was a great pleasure to have you here with us today. Thank you for
so
joining
much.
us.
It was my pleasure,
Thank
actually.
you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, dear viewers, for following this very inspiring interview. See you in the next ones. Thank you.